Good evening and welcome to the Monday, March 27th, 2023 Litchfield Board of Selectmen meeting. The board has just come out of a paperwork review. I'd like to call the meeting to order and ask everyone to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So tonight is the start of the new session coming off of town meeting. We were going to have the swearing in of the newest selectman, Steve Ganning. However, that already happened today. Hopefully, he'll be joining us remotely. He's ill at the moment.
I have an empty seat here.
Also, would like to say thank you for Selectman LaSalle for his last 3 years of work on this board and over his 40 years of dedication to the town of Litchfield. The first item we have this evening is the election of the chairman. Do we have a motion for chair?
I make a motion for Bob to be chair.
We have a motion for Mr. Leary. Do we have a second?
I'll enter second so we can have a discussion.
Do we have any other motions for chairs? All right. Discussion?
We talked about this for a few years now, Steve and I have, and then, we decided to put it on hold during COVID and, the last couple of years with COVID, so, but we decided, Steve and I had talked and basically spoke about somebody not being chair for too many years in a row, giving somebody else a voice and an opportunity so that it didn't become that person's board as it has in years past. Before we got on board, it was somebody's board for a lot of years, and it's good to have differing viewpoints. Am I correct?
I don't remember having the conversation, but yes, I have had it for the last 4 years, and I know that in the past there has been a will to change, but we've spoken and thought that consistency due to COVID and so
Yes.
forth was the best thing for the board at the time. All right, with no other motions, Mr. Leary?
Oh, I vote for myself? I'll have to abstain, right?
Whatever you'd like to do.
I'll abstain.
Mr. Lynch?
Bob Leary.
Is that a yes?
That's a yes.
Ms. Queenie?
So you're verifying that you're okay, that you
I'm
have this
comfortable whenever the will
conversation?
of the board is. I'm very, very comfortable with it.
Okay, I'll
He needs a vacation.
say aye,
I am also a yes.
because you had the conversation.
Mr. Leary is our new chairman. Chairman Leary, it's your meeting.
Welcome to the real world.
Next, we'll entertain a motion for vice chair.
Not me.
That's not a motion.
I will make a motion for Ms. Queenan.
I'll second that for discussion.
I'm all for it.
Is there any other nominations?
No one here.
All those in favor? Mr. Lynch?
Aye.
Mr. Weber?
I am an aye,
I am also an aye.
I have to abstain.
Yes.
if you choose.
I'll abstain.
We
Welcome,
normally do, other
Yeah.
boards don't.
welcome to your future. I don't know how to say that right.
All right. Next on the deck. Computer to work right here. Swearing in.
Who are you gonna swear at tonight,
Our wonderful
guys?
town clerk.
Me?
You need to re-swear Kim.
We're gonna swear Kim.
Me?
Yeah.
Didn't I come in and, I already did something, right? I took the oath, right? I'm doing it in public, is that it?
Normally what we do is the Board of Selectmen that is elected, they will be sworn in at the meeting.
Okay.
For the public to witness the swearing in.
Gotcha.
You had a meeting,
I had to go to the planning board, so I had to get sworn in.
so you
Okay,
had to be
gotcha.
sworn in ahead of
All right.
time. And Steve was sworn in earlier today because he wasn't feeling well, so he came in all masked up and we got him sworn in so that he could be,
Steve came in
Hopefully
today.
participate remotely
Ready.
soon.
and yeah, maybe.
This,
So,
the Florida visit was too much for him?
the what?
The Florida visit was too much for him?
Sure.
I understand that.
So,
Right, I was gonna say, but he didn't go to
Where was
Florida,
it?
but I.
A little bit off
Stand?
off the coast of
I understand,
Florida.
right?
Where'd he go?
we don't have to.
Okay, I'm just, yeah. What do you want me to do?
Whatever
Sorry,
you wanna
John.
do.
Do I have to say something, read something? You have to say I,
No.
She's gonna-
okay,
she's
tell me
gonna
what you
swear.
gotta do.
Raise your hand.
I'll raise my
Raise your
hand,
hand,
get the
all
pen
right.
out of it.
Stand up.
Stand up?
Yeah, stand up.
Jeez, okay,
Stand up.
okay. Raise my hand too?
Yes,
Your left one.
Oh.
all right. Do you solemnly swear that you will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform the duties incumbent upon you as a select woman to the best of your abilities, agreeable to the rules and regulations of the Constitution and the state of New Hampshire, so help you God? Again.
I do.
Good.
Thank you.
Since we have Miss Brand here, and I know she comes into work very early in the morning, should we just jump ahead and do the other swearing-ins so she can get home to her family and her dog?
Nobody else has to be sworn in, I don't think.
He does. CIP.
We swearing for the CIP? I thought it was an appointment.
It's an
It's an
Oh, appointment, sorry.
Still,
Yeah,
Really?
they do.
Okay.
Everybody has to be sworn in.
is there anybody else that,
So,
you guys here for public input, or? Okay, okay. Yeah. Okay, so, all right, so,
Do you
If
have
since-
paperwork in there?
yes.
his
Peters is
paperwork's
in
in
there,
here
yes.
somewhere, yes, so,
It was in there, I remember that.
We wanna-
coming through.
this is a reappointment to the Capital Improvement Committee.
CIP, you want to be a CIP?
So,
What group are you on? What?
So these,
so,
I think
Welcome.
all
should
all
nominate
need to
him,
be
we
vote
should-
on,
yeah, we should nominate him and vote him in, and then she can swear him in.
Yeah.
So, we'll entertain a motion to nominate Mr. Stone.
So moved.
Yep, I'll second.
We have a motion by Mr. Weber and a second by Ms. Queenan. All those in favor? Mr. Lynch?
Yes.
I am a yes. Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Ms. Queenan?
Yes,
Motion passes 4-0-0.
Who's chair tonight, you or him?
Congratulations. Man,
All right.
Want to change seats?
next,
Raise your right hand.
I'm
All
comfortable.
right. Do you swear that you will faithfully and impartially perform and discharge the duties incumbent upon you as CIP to the best of your abilities, agreeable to the rules and regulations of the Constitution and the state of New Hampshire, so help you God?
I do.
Excellent. All right, just need his, yay.
So,
I'm about ready
We
to say
signed it.
computers don't help.
this are all the tax, these are the tax credits. It's
you
these.
know how to use it,
Yeah, I looked at it.
If she found it,
which we don't.
We don't.
we were looking at the tax credits, it's
No, I
right
don't
here.
think
You
she's got
IT
it.
guys are
Yeah.
not
Peters?
good for me.
Yeah.
I don't
Sign,
think-
please.
I did.
You did,
This,
I don't see your signature.
I- Is that my name right there?
Is it?
I guess so.
Yeah, his
yeah, I
name
haven't
was on
gone
it.
through that folder yet. There's a lot of paperwork in there, yes.
I came early to sign everybody in. I know Mr. Stone wanted to get his ass in here.
Thank you. All right, next up, Board of Selectmen assignments to committees, boards, and commissions. Kim, you had spoken about possibly stepping back from planning, whereas you've been on it for 7 years.
It's a question can we have a discussion about that?
Oh,
It was,
absolutely.
When I first ran for selectman,
Mm-hmm,
it was to tighten the communication gap
mm-hmm.
between NRPC, Board of Selectmen, and Planning Board. I think we've done that.
Yeah.
So the question, I just want to have a discussion with us, is if I remove myself from the Planning Board, do I hurt that process, really? You know, because I'm attending about 80-something meetings a year.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if Mr. Weber would be up for going back to Planning Board. I don't think Kevin expressed that he wants to go back.
been
I don't mind taking it, but I just wanted to have a
I
discussion.
personally feel that you have a huge value in there, especially being part of NRCP.
Okay.
That you have a lot you can bring to it.
All right, I'm okay with keeping it. Just wanted to have a
That's
discussion.
just
Thank
my
you.
opinion. I mean,
Okay.
as you know, I'm
Kim,
comfortable. in
thank
Yeah.
you, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome.
40 years of my life, I dealt with it.
I know.
I want you to have it.
Thank you.
Peter Stone's.
It's okay. We have a lot of work to do there,
Because I can't find it.
so we'll keep going with that.
Okay, so you will stay on planning board?
Yes, I will.
Okay, thank you.
I'll stay on
Thank you for
rec.
doing it. What?
I'll stay on rec.
On rec? You weren't on rec.
I'm on rec.
Aren't you on?
I had rec.
conservation? He had rec.
I have rec.
Conservation,
The
excuse me,
conservation.
conservation.
Can we
They
have,
cut down
can we have a
trees.
discussion about conservation?
They just cut
I
down-
think, well, conservation and recreation have been working very closely together.
Yeah.
Under, Chairman Gannon at the time with Breck and with Chairman Brennan. Now with, Selectman Gannon with us, I think that's a strong bond to keep back with them over at conservation. Because there's a lot of good momentum going on and so forth. So I think, my personal opinion, he's not here to speak for himself, but I think that that would be a good spot to put Steve coming out of the gate.
On conservation, knock me off is what you're saying?
I'm just changing things up. We gotta find a place to put Steve, right? I don't think.
Budget.
Heritage.
I don't think Heritage. I don't think he's comfortable, my personal opinion, once again, he's not here, so whatever the will of this board is, I don't think he's ready for a budget yet. I mean, being a first-year person, jumping on budget's pretty tough.
Yeah.
Bob did do it.
That's because everybody looked the other way.
That's right, you did jump on, and you know that the learning curve was like.
What did Richard do? He did these,
My
right?
thought would be that if,
did
Kevin's been there for a couple of years now, and if he wanted to stay, I don't know about taking him off.
I wanna stay there because I think the group is doing good.
I think we've made real strides with that group the last few years.
Yep.
So,
I agree we have, and I just like the workmanship that they had along with recreation, and to keep that going would be great.
I think we still keep that going with the present.
so Kim's planning step.
Since the gentleman was cutting brush along Route
And,
3A this
RPC.
week,
Yeah,
you know,
and I might be
I
sick, I don't know.
got somebody taking care of the tree falls,
Conservation.
and he doesn't know about it, but it'll be all gone by the end of the
Don't know
week.
yet.
All right.
Rich LaSalle's had these groups here, right? I don't know who's
Yeah.
taking,
Rich
I don't
had
know who's
Heritage.
taking those on.
PFOA.
Yeah,
Heritage,
Rich had
PFOA.
Heritage, PFOA, and Emergency Management. So,
PFOA was a separate group.
yeah, that's more of a state thing, I believe. Wasn't April on that for a while?
She was on for a while, and then they weren't doing anything,
Yeah.
so she got off, and
Yeah.
I don't think we have a community member right now.
No, we don't.
You don't have a community member, and you have Mr. Bohm, who has been appointed by the House.
The house
Okay,
board.
yep.
So it was Rich.
Yep, it was Rich and now it's Ralph, yeah. So, all right. Well, I'll stay with budget another year if the board has no
Appreciate that.
objections.
Nope.
So we just have heritage and conservation. I would hate to pull Kevin from conservation right now.
Conservation has been going so slick
Staying on track.
Yes.
all the way
Yes, Steve
through.
is
It's been going good.
Can you make more meetings than you've been making? Because I'm hearing, I
The
was
only
hearing
means
from
I missed
conservation
because of health.
they just said that there hasn't been a lot of communication with you being part of the conservation was what was reported back to me.
I disagree with that because I told them I can't be dead because I had a health issue.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm just giving feedback what was given to me.
Thank you.
If you can't make
We-
a meeting, let one of us know. Maybe
I've
somebody
always
can
let
sit with
those who
you.
know that I'm not coming.
Okay. Yeah, because it is important to have people there.
Plus, when you got a couple $1 million there making decisions on money, we need
Damn
someone.
right.
We need someone who's gonna be
Yep.
active
Yep.
and be the voice.
Okay.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
We don't know if we're having an energy commission yet. It's a discussion for later, right?
Yep, yep.
But I don't know if that has to be approved through the town, or you can just start one up, I wasn't sure. Because I'm just saying while you're allocating people to think about that.
So the discussion on forming an energy commission has gone to legal, and I haven't heard back. I don't quite understand how several other towns would have appointed an energy commission and then had time to get the information ready for a warrant. They did it mid-year, so I tend to think we don't need a warrant, although most of your committees were by warrant. mean, if legal comes back saying it doesn't need a warrant, then it's
It
up to
could
the
be a
will of the
subcommittee off of
board.
us, right?
That's what,
So if we look at recreation, there was a subcommittee for Spirit of Litchfield that was appointed, and it never went out to warrant or anything, and that's a subcommittee of
Yep.
recreation.
and isn't CIP?
CIP is a subcommittee of us, but however, CIP was to warrant on the structure of it.
I mean, you would need an energy committee now if we were to look at warrant of next year.
Okay.
Just keep that in the back of your mind when you're allocating.
Okay. Well, I mean, I would say that Steve has done a really good job with coordinating with the water people. He's got a background in electrical. I mean, if we're gonna do energy, I mean, I can't think of a more qualified person on the board to represent us. He knows what he's talking about.
Well,
Was that
you
something
okay
you'd
with
be
that?
interested in?
I'd take part of that.
Okay. All right.
And we'll
This
look at the
220 is
planning
good for us.
So
Okay.
the PFOAs, those meetings are at 10 o'clock on Friday morning.
But we don't need anybody from this board to sit on that, we just need we need a citizens rep.
Right,
Correct.
right. They're public meetings, they're
Yep.
open to anybody,
Okay.
they're recorded.
So we need to find a citizen rep, okay. So you're gonna stay with conservation,
Correct.
okay? I'm fine with that. Anybody? Anybody else? Okay, so that, what's that?
No, nothing, I stated where I thought would have been the right appointment for it.
All right, so that will leave
Will of the board.
Heritage for, Mr. Gannon. Emergency Management Team, we haven't had anything with that in a while. Is that something you'd be interested in?
I can handle that.
Okay. And that does everything, right?
No, you still need,
School facility.
school facility improvement.
Oh. Is that, do you wanna stay, you've been.
I
doing that.
can't with the increase in my work, I can't get Wednesdays at 3 consistently.
Wednesdays at 3?
School, what?
Wednesdays
School
at
facilities.
Wednesdays at 3 every other week, twice a month. And just with my schedule is,
Yeah,
construction has gone crazy these
no,
days, so.
tell me about it.
What's going on? Construction, pretty quiet out there.
Yeah.
Maybe in Milford. I don't think my workload would allow me to be there every other Wednesday.
So what's the school thing about?
They meet and discuss,
Facilities improvement, building of the new school, additions, renovations, go over change orders, planning, media and how to
I'm not familiar with that, what?
go and put it out to the townspeople.
Not familiar with that very much in my life.
are you
so
available every other Wednesday?
I can make it work.
Okay. Look at you getting busy.
By the time I get old and get busy.
Okay, that should do everything, right? Are we missing anything else?
Nope, I think that does them all.
Okay, cool. We can get to business?
Kim, just send me something what I'm in charge of.
Yes,
You know what I'm saying?
I'll type it up.
In Braille.
Okay. So emergency management, school facilities,
Yep.
conservation.
Fire department ain't gonna like me.
Yes, they will. It's a new mood over there these days.
I've been
Alright,
through
so-
worse.
Moving forward. We have an AP manifest from March 21st of 2023 in the amount of $712,775.02, and one for March 28th of '23 in the amount of $1,631,494.95. We have a payroll manifest for March 23rd of '23 in the amount of $62,415.13. We have 2 elderly exemption denials, 4 elderly recertifications, 2 new elderly applications. We have 4 veterans tax credit applications for approval and 1 veteran tax credit denial. We have a timber tax, map 22, lot 14, Corning Farm at River's Edge, $1,551.84. We have an abatement, map 3, lot 6, 85 Charles Bancroft Highway denial. An abatement, map 9, lot 179, sub 41, 40 Brickyard denial. We have the MS 232 report of appropriations actually voted. Are there any items that anybody would like to remove or shelve for now? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to accept.
So moved.
A motion from Mr. Weber,
Second?
second from Ms. Queenan. All those in favor, Mr. Lynch?
Aye.
Mr. Weber?
Aye.
Ms. Queenan?
Aye.
I'm gonna abstain because I haven't looked through the denials and the exemptions, so I can't really speak on that until I get a chance to look at them. So that motion passes 3-0-1.
I came in today to look at it also.
Okay.
Right, boy.
Is there any other business that anybody would like to add to tonight's agenda? All right, public input will occur no earlier than 6:45 PM, and it's 6:56 PM, so we will open it up for public input. And we have some folks here. Come on up. Give us your name and,
Oh my gosh, you got a helmet.
name and address for you folks, please.
This is a great talk.
Alright, I am Amber Flint.
Corey Flint.
This is my husband Corey Flint. We're 123 Hillcrest. We are here to talk about the idea of having a 4th of July parade. So we had one in 2020, and it was really fantastic, and it was really thrown together last minute, and it was a really good turnout of the whole community.
We did in 10 days, I think it was.
Yeah, it was awesome. Jay did a really good job. So I want to start a tradition of doing that yearly. I want to be really clear that I do not want to take away from Memorial Day Parade, because that is very traditional, it is very necessary, it has its place for sure in our community. But the Memorial Day Parade is more of a somber event, which I really love so much, but the 4th of July is more of a party, fun celebration type of thing. And the last 4th of July parade we did was a lot of fun. And like that fun kind of seeps into the Memorial Day parade, and it shouldn't really be there because it's more of a somber occasion. So this is a way for our community to have that fun event for 4th of July. So we were thinking the route for the 2020 parade was a really good route all the way along Albuquerque. I haven't talked to anybody, like the staging areas, I haven't talked to anybody yet. I wanted to get you guys to kind of be involved in it before I start talking to everyone in the community about it. We're thinking about maybe 10 o'clock start time. Anyone who wants to be in on this parade can just come on in, because it's not going to be a really formal event. We will not have a committee. Flying by the seat of our pants type of thing. And like so far it worked out well in 2020. If any problems come up, then we might have to change that a little bit, but for right now we're just gonna just come, it'll be fun. Let's see, I'm planning on going, after I talk to you guys, I'm planning on going to business in town. I'm planning on going to like community groups, individuals, town organizations such as the library, fire, police, all the schools, and see if they're interested in like having groups come. Because other parades I've been to, they've had the band performing. So I know we don't have a marching band. And again, I haven't even spoken to Miss Milligan or anybody else, but maybe they can ride on like a float type of thing. I don't know if that's even possible, but like, just some ideas that we've come up with, so, but that was my plan, to go out in the community and actually talk to a bunch of people. Let's see, it will be volunteer only, we will not be raising any money for this, we will not be charging anything for this, it's just a fun thing for the town to do. It'll also probably only be a riding-only parade, just because it's going to be a long route along Albuquerque, so, yeah. And walkers, I know I've been a walker in the Memorial Day parade, and that was good. That distance is good, but this will be like
Good
I think
exercise.
it was like 3 miles. The last parade that we had. 5, really? Okay, it was a lot. It was long.
We had a lot of discussion about where to end it, if people wanted to walk, how far it was. It was a lengthy route.
Right. So
Good
anyway,
for you.
that's yeah. It was fun. I liked it. So anyway, that's my pitch to you guys. I think it would be really good for the town. I think it would be a really great tradition to start and keep going. So. What else do I need to do? Do you have any questions, any concerns?
I think the biggest thing you have to consider is the length of the parade. Okay, from which way to which way. You know, to pick up the schools and get the town hall, police, and fire, and that's basically the end point. You know what I'm saying? Anything beyond that, okay, you got the pink house. Okay, you know, but you gotta look at it like that, the length of it.
Yeah, so in 2020, they started at, what's that construction?
Hidden Creek.
Hidden Creek,
Like,
yes.
We started,
Hidden Creek.
everybody's lined up at Hidden
Yep.
Creek and
Right.
then came on down.
And then,
I wasn't
it
familiar with
ended
high school,
at
yeah.
the high school, so I'm thinking in my head, that's the same route
Same
that
route,
we're
yeah.
gonna do.
Okay.
So,
That was a good route, actually. It was a really good.
It was.
Yeah.
It was good staging. It was
plenty
a
of
great
people-
event. Everybody who did it absolutely loved it, and it
Yep.
was, something to look forward to.
I'm from Ruth.
July, so. I, for one, am all for it.
We
Yeah, I
never
think
had
Jason
parades in the woods.
and Rick Chabonneau did a wonderful job with that, getting that taken care of a couple of years ago. And I think it should be. We should have a second parade.
And I've talked to Jason already, he's like, I'm on board, I
Yep.
can help out, but a little bit, not
Yeah.
in charge, so.
In the old days, we used to go from Pinecrest to Hillcrest.
Yep.
And the reason for that was the cemetery was there.
Yep.
The other cemetery was here.
Mhm.
We did that, and I went, okay, I lived there.
I have a question. Do we need a permit or something? Or a yearly
Yeah.
permit?
Yes.
Yeah, the
Do
police
you
will
have the
take care of
process
that.
down about a permit?
applied for
So we
Okay.
applied for it today,
you already
filled
go?
out the
Okay.
paperwork, it's been turned in
Yeah.
to the police, so.
Okay.
We had a
good.
great turnout last time.
Yeah, it was excellent.
That was, it
Well,
was,
it was,
too
everyone's
deep.
home and not doing
I
anything,
mean, it's
so I don't know.
COVID and nobody had
I
been out.
don't think
and-
it's gonna be as big, I'm hoping it will be,
Probably
but
will.
I don't think it'll be as big because
As
people.
long as
are
it
working,
doesn't
but
snow.
I-
Don't
I
be
think-
surprised.
We can certainly build momentum over the years.
Don't be
on a
surprised.
yearly event, yeah.
yeah, but it was
Don't be
family
surprised. It could
oriented.
end up bigger than you planned.
Yeah,
Which
well,
is okay
that's
by
fine.
us.
Unless it rains or snows.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think
They'll still show.
snow would really put a damper on it.
So that permit gets the police lined up, the fire, everybody's all lined up?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a
I'm
permit
not
to
sure.
demonstrate.
Is it just the
It's a
one?
permit to demonstrate, and then
Okay,
everybody
yep.
from that
Don't
point.
Just
believe
wanted to make sure we
it.
had one. I know we talked about one. I forgot to sign that one.
Sorry.
I have no issues with it. I think it's a wonderful idea, and
Part of the community.
I
Let's
would
do
say
it.
carry on and tell us what you need from us.
Yep.
Okay, yep,
Does
alright, sounds good,
anybody have anything else they want? I think we're all in agreement.
awesome,
Yeah.
then we'll just keep on rolling,
Yep.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for all your efforts.
Excuse me,
Appreciate
sir.
it.
You need to get that thing that she has, to hide the glare.
I can't wear it anymore. All the hair's, they scraped off all the hair on my head from last time.
Yes.
Thank you.
Have a
Want me to
have
pass
a
this
nice
on,
day.
or-
Do we have any other public input? Not hearing any. We will close public input at 7:05. Okay. All right. Next up.
Mr. Chairman, we have Selectman Gannon, who is joining us via WebEx.
Oh, I didn't see the TV go on.
Who is that?
How you feeling? Oh, you're muted.
He feels muted.
Unmute
Voice
yourself.
sounds great.
Unmute yourself.
It's the best you have ever sounded.
Steve, you're muted.
There you go,
Yeah,
buddy.
A little bit better. turn your
Hey,
volume
thanks,
up.
John. You gotta fix it.
I'm gonna
Former
survive.
sit there.
Oh, hang on, we're gonna turn the volume up so we can hear you.
They'll give it to me, you take it.
All right, try that, Steve.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yep, better. Steve will turn
All
this
right.
up some more. There we go. So we're just about to
Put-
jump
put closed
into,
caption.
we're just about to jump into our business. Okay, we just did, the consent items, we did the appointments and public input, so now we're under business.
We need a motion so Steve can participate remotely.
We've
I make a motion that we participate remotely with a guy who hasn't shaved.
Okay. We have a motion from Mr. Lynch,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Queenan. All those in favor, Ms. Queenan?
Aye.
Mr. Weber?
Aye.
Mr. Lynch?
Yes.
I am also a yes. Motion carries 400. Can you please just tell us why you're remote, and is there anyone in the room with you? I learned
All
that
right,
about
I
you.
am home, I am alone, and I'm dealing with an illness.
Okay. Well, we hope you feel better. And welcome to the board.
Thank you.
Okay, and you have Heritage Commission.
Okay?
Your love.
Okay. So, under business, do you have the agenda there?
I will bring it up. Yep, keep going.
Okay. Under business, we have approval of the March 13th, 2023 minutes. Has everybody had a chance to look at them?
Yes.
Yes.
Any alterations? And Kim, that's usually your spot.
Oh, it laid look good to me.
Okay.
Good.
Hearing
Kim
none,
made it.
we'll entertain a motion to approve them.
I make a motion, we approve.
Motion by Mr. Lynch,
Second.
second by Mr. Weber. All those in favor, Ms. Queenan?
Aye.
Mr. Weber?
Aye.
Mr. Lynch?
Aye.
I'm also an aye. Motion carries 401. You have to abstain. I didn't even give you the chance. Okay. Next up, we have the public hearing for fiscal year 2022 State Clean Water SRF grant in the amount of $30,000 to create a stormwater asset management program. Ms. Kleiner, please fill us in.
So this is the grant that we applied to. We've put out an RFP, and CEI replied to that RFP. We worked with them to develop a program. We submitted it to the state. We heard back last week that we had been granted the $30,000. We will work with them to create a database management program where we will then map all of the stormwater sites, and from there we'll be able to evaluate them and track all that information so
Good.
that we can report on our MS4.
That is great.
Yep, that's good news. Thank you very much for all your work on this. And Mr. Brown too,
Mr.
right?
Brown,
Mr.
yes.
Brown as well, our road agent.
Oh, God, Kevin, okay.
We need to have a motion to accept this money, correct?
We need to accept the money, and then there's actually what they call a certificate of vote. So I need to be authorized by you to execute the grant documents.
Make a motion, we accept.
Okay, I can second that. You want me to read the motion?
Yes, please.
I make a motion to accept $30,000 from the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services for the purpose of the Stormwater Asset Management System, and to authorize Kim Kleiner, Town Administrator, to execute the grant documents on behalf of the Town of Litchfield. I'll second.
I'll second it.
Okay.
We'll change that to a motion from Ms. Queenan and a second from Mr.
Exactly
Lynch.
what, fine.
All those in favor, Mr.
He has
Weber?
no words.
Aye.
Ms. Queenan?
Aye.
Mr. Lynch?
Aye.
Mr. Gannon?
Aye.
And I am also an aye. Motion carries 500.
Your seat is right here waiting for you.
Right. Your first vote. Okay, next up, we have we've already done the committees, so we're gonna do approval of purchases of pickleball court project.
No, we gotta go back up.
Yeah,
We have to do the appointments of each individual person.
we just did
We do?
Mr. Stone.
Oh, all right.
So F we can skip. We're up at A.
A we can skip?
Nope, A we have to do. We can skip F when we get to it. Mr. Stone was just.
So we have the appointments, should we do them all at once, or we wanna do them one at a time?
Do them all
Done
at
them
once.
both ways before.
All at once is good.
Anybody?
I would probably I'd take them in
Yeah,
batches.
At least, Ms.
Okay.
Mills.
Yeah, let's do the deputy town clerk tax collector, Laura Mills, for a 3-year term. We'll entertain a motion to,
I have a motion to reappoint.
I'll second it.
all right, we have a motion from Mr. Weber and a second from Mr. Lynch. Any discussions? I'd just like to say she's done a nice job as a number 2 for Terry, always very pleasant. And, I'm glad she's gonna stay. So, hearing that, Mr. Gannon, how do you vote?
Aye.
All right, Ms. Queenan?
Aye.
Mr. Weber?
I'm an I.
Aye.
Mr. Lynch is an aye. I'm also an aye. Motion carries 5-0-0. Now we can do some batches.
Tough one.
Next, we have Conservation Commission. Joan McGibbon, Harry Manzigian, and Michael Croto, all 3-year terms, correct? Okay. Any discussion on this? No? We'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve Conservation Commission.
Okay, we have a motion from Ms. Queenan,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Weber. All those in favor, Mr. Lynch,
Aye.
Mr. Gannon,
Aye.
Ms. Queenan,
Aye.
Mr. Weber.
I'm an I.
I am also an aye. Motion carries 5-0-0. Welcome back, folks. Okay. Next up, we have Heritage Commission. Carl Frank.
I recommend him.
Is that a motion?
Yes.
Okay, so we have a motion from Mr. Lynch,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Queenan. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor, Mr. Gannon,
Aye.
Ms. Queenan,
Aye.
Mr. Weber,
Aye.
Mr. Lynch.
Aye, and he has a building background where he understands construction, and he also has old stuff as well.
Okay, I am also an aye. Motion carries 5-0-0. Planning Board, Michael Croto.
He's a lawyer.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
We have a motion from Ms. Queenan, a second from Mr. Weber. Discussion? All right. Mr. Gannon?
Aye.
Ms. Queenan?
Aye.
Mr. Weber?
Aye.
Mr. Lynch?
If he loses his law degree, I will be happy. Aye.
I am also an aye. Motion carries 5-0-0. Rec Commission, Peter Ames.
The new one.
I'll make a motion to appoint.
Make a motion to appoint Peter Ames. Okay, we have a motion from Mr. Weber.
Stephen, no, does he know?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay, we have a second from Mr. Gannon. Has he been on the rec for a while?
He has a long
Yes,
time.
yeah.
He's been the secretary until last year.
Okay,
He's been on longer than I have.
Yeah.
okay. Very well.
One of the 2 longest we have, I think, right now.
All right, all those in favor, Mr. Gannon?
Aye.
Ms. Queenan?
Aye.
Mr. Weber?
Aye.
Mr. Lynch?
Okay, aye, but Steve's beard is shorter this year.
I'm also an aye. Motion carries 5-0-0. We've already done capital improvement with Mr. Stone.
Yep.
Zoning Board of Adjustments, Jerry Sorensen and John R. Devereaux.
You've been there a while.
I'll make a motion to appoint.
We have a motion for Mr. Weber,
Second.
second from Ms. Queenan. All those in favor, Mr. Gannon,
Aye.
Ms. Queenan,
Aye.
Mr. Weber,
Aye.
Mr. Lynch.
Aye.
I'm also an aye. Motion carries 5-0-0. Now we'll do approval of purchases. Pickleball Court Project.
It's denied.
We have, we should do these separate, right?
Yeah, there's 2 different purchase
Yeah,
orders.
okay, so we
Don't
have a
give me
purchase
gold.
order from Sport Court Northeast for $32,929.80.
I saw that today.
I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion from Mr. Weber,
I will second that.
We have a second from Mr. Gannon. So what is this for?
It's for the pickleball courts that are being put in. We're doing the site work over at Sawmill right now. And then this is going to be for the courts themselves, then the fencing and all the nets and so
The
forth.
next vote would be for the fencing, and
Okay.
they started construction today.
Okay, very well. All right, all those in favor, Mr. Gannon?
I am going to abstain as I was the chair for the project.
Okay,
Thank you.
very good. Ms. Queenan?
Aye.
Mr. Weber?
Aye.
Mr. Lynch?
Aye.
I am also an aye. Motion carries 401.
And from a clarity standpoint, it goes back to the impact fees of $132,000 that we
That we
released.
talked about a couple
Correct.
weeks ago, right?
We
That's what I
released
thought,
those,
but
and these are two of the purchase orders that go against those
understand. I just-
impact fees.
I just wasn't 100% sure on that,
Yeah.
so, okay, cool.
Covers the
And the
cost
second
of
one
it.
we have is Fences Unlimited. We have a purchase order for $65,878.
Yeah,
And this is the rest of the money, so,
This is going around the pickleball court.
motion to approve
So moved.
from Mr. Weber. We have a motion.
I will second it.
Mr. Gannon will second it. All those in favor? Mr. Gannon?
I will abstain for the same reason as the first one, as that being the chair of the rec.
Okay, technicality, can he second the vote?
No.
He's abstaining, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so,
Can he?
Yep,
okay,
How?
okay.
He's standing and saying he can't.
because he sits on the committee, so he can second the motion,
He can second it, but he can't.
but he's
he
not
can't-
voting
okay.
for it. He's just getting it so it gets to the point of being.
Okay.
Okay,
Motion for
okay,
discussion.
legal. I'm
Because you know
looking-
there's people that love to ring us on that. So, Ms. Queenan?
Aye.
Mr. Weber?
Aye.
Mr. Lynch?
Aye.
I'm also an aye. Motion carries 401. And,
Before we move on, can I give a quick update on that? Speaking with the gentleman who's putting the courts in, he informed me that the site work and pad work will be done by the end of April, and the two vendors, Sport Court and Fences Unlimited, can start their work as early as May.
no kidding. There'll be a lot of happy people. And they can play pickleball.
A lot of pickle people out there be happy.
Chris Burns and Judy Brennan have been spectacular at spearheading this project.
Yep. Very well.
I have just a comment.
Yes.
The dates on these are quick to pay this money, right? You seeing
Yes.
these dates?
Yes.
They are.
Okay, just like next 2 days, right?
All right. Next up, we have the approval of the contract with Auctions International. Ms. Kleiner, please fill us in.
Earlier this, last fall, we had identified some automobiles that are up at the highway department that are not being used. And the board asked us to look into auctioning those. So Auctions International is a company that's used by a variety of different towns within New Hampshire. It's all listed via the website. So they have a website, they will list them, they will actually give us a link we can put on our website, so that people can access them that way. And then they take a fee from the buyer. So, our legal counsel looked over the contract, she was in agreement with it. The other spreadsheet that you see there, this is really where the conversation starts. We have to have a minimum. And the reason for that is if we reject a bid, the auction company wants to know what the minimum would have been. So you'll see to the far right of the spreadsheet, which I'm not going to name, there's some minimums there. So there's a 2000 Chevrolet Tahoe, a 2007 Ford Explorer, a 2006 Ford, a 2000 International dump truck, and a 1909 International dump truck. Those suggested minimums to the far right were suggested by our road agent.
Okay. Now, we had talked about the old backhoe, since they got a new backhoe. putting that out too. What's the status with that? I don't see that listed here.
It was not listed. We can add it if you'd like. My suggestion was, I think that we
You
should
took
keep
care of
it
just
for
the-
a second, for,
Right now, you just took care of the 3 cars that are out there and the 2 dump trucks. The backhoe is part of the budget replacement process, I understand that. See if you can get that to fit in. That's all I'm saying.
My concern with that is, and I mentioned this a few weeks ago, is that we were told that the backhoe was on its last legs, it was going to die. A new one was needed, we used ARPA funds to buy a new one, then all of a sudden, it can be refurbished and be used. That's,
I
to
didn't
me,
hear that.
that's deceiving to the taxpayers.
I didn't hear that, okay.
I don't think I think we should stick with the plan that we had. That's just my opinion. The board can do whatever they wanna do. But we went on this course saying we're gonna buy a new backhoe because the old one was dead.
Correct.
So,
They said it was rotted by salt.
It was rotted by
By
salt.
salt.
Yep.
Yeah.
they couldn't get radiator parts for it, and, yeah.
But weren't we gonna put this down at the recycle center for a backup, right?
Well,
Is that
that's what
what
they
I'm
were gonna,
remembering?
that's what they were gonna do after, but they never, it was never mentioned to be used as a backup until after we approved ARPA funds to buy a new one.
I guess my question is, I mean, even if we use it till it dies
Yeah.
versus get $500 for it, I mean.
I think we ought to leave it the way it is.
For $1, right? I get the whole, optics of it and so forth, that it didn't come out till after the fact, but, I mean, what's more important to us, $500 or maybe getting 6 months out of it to a year?
Well, and I do get that, but I can also see sitting at a budget committee meeting and having people grill me.
Yeah. As I said, I understand the optics.
Yeah, but the reason why they're gonna grill you has nothing to do with the logic behind the existing backhoe.
So, I mean, if the board wants to keep it as a backup, that's,
Please do.
Steve?
I'm fine either way. I mean, right now, we're making a motion on getting what's on the chart right now. and-
Okay,
I
so
agree with
well,
that.
We won't put it on. Mr. Gannon?
I'm in favor of it.
Okay. then
Thank you,
we'll
Steve.
Keep it as a backup. I can take defeat. So,
Slowly.
we have the 4, we have the 4 issues here. We need a motion to, send them out to,
I'll make a motion to go down, there we go.
I'll make a motion to approve the contract with Auctions International for the online sale of the 5 vehicles as discussed.
So particular.
well, it says it right there next to you.
I didn't read it because not, my screen's
We have a
black.
motion for Mr. Weber. Do you want to second the motion?
I'll second it.
We have a second from Mr. Lynch. All those in favor, Mr. Gannon?
Aye.
Ms. Queen?
Aye.
Mr. Weber?
I am an aye.
Mr. Lynch?
Aye,
Right, and I'm gonna say no because of
your concerns.
the position, yep. So, motion passes 4-1-0.
I got no problem with that, Bobby.
Okay, next up, we have, looks like a discussion.
What?
Fire personnel retirement.
Sorry, I won't discuss that.
Well, then down below it says discussion on fire personnel retirement.
I won't discuss that.
So, Ms. Kleiner, help us out.
So we have received a letter of retirement from
Doug.
interim chief Nickel. And he wrote the letter. We weren't sure whether the board wanted the letter read, but it is there if you'd like.
Did he want it read?
I think that it was important to him for the residents to understand how much he has enjoyed his time here in Litchfield. 32 and a half years. That's something to be very proud of, especially in this day and age. And the fact that he has grown amongst the ranks. I can speak for the staff to say that Mr. Nickel is a joy to work with. He's very attentive. He's very attentive to our residents. And I think he has a lot to do with the Litchfield Fire Department being the Litchfield Fire Department.
And it was a nicely penned letter, too.
Yes.
So
Yes.
should we read it?
I think we should.
All right.
Who's gonna read it?
Does anybody wanna read it? I'll read it if nobody else wants to. Yeah?
You can read it.
Okay.
Well done.
I stutter.
All right, since I've known him forever. Dated February 25th, 2023, to the Litchfield Board of Selectmen, 2 Liberty Way, Litchfield, New Hampshire. Honorable members of the Board of Selectmen, I write this letter today with the utmost gratitude and appreciation to the town of Litchfield for the last 32 and a half years as a full-time employee of Litchfield Fire Rescue. After careful consideration, I have decided it was the right time for both myself and my family to retire and make this change in our lives. It is my intent to retire from the fire department on April 29th, 2023. Words alone cannot express how much of an honor it has been for me to serve the residents of Litchfield in the community that I have grown up in. I have had the honor of teaching fire safety to many generations of children in my tenure and helping countless people in town through their emergencies. It is with appreciation to the citizens of Litchfield and the men and women of the Litchfield Fire Rescue that I have had this opportunity to do a job that I love every day. As I look back on my tenure, the department has accomplished a great deal. Even with the challenges experienced across all job professions, we continue to rise to the challenge and are able to recruit and train new members quickly and effectively. The town's fire protection has improved with the building of a new fire station we have called home for almost 5 years now. All our equipment is housed indoor, and we are able to provide a 1 to 4 minute response time to the majority of the community. The department has also seen through many difficult times together: ice storms, microbursts, Mother's Day flooding, road collapses, major fires, and several other severe weather events and major power outages. While I am very proud of our accomplishments facing these challenges, it is important to point out that none of them could have been achieved without the commitment, dedication, hard work displayed by the men and women who have served the town of Litchfield and Litchfield Fire Rescue. No fire department can succeed by itself. It cannot be overstated that the department's personnel, you, the Board of Selectmen, town administrator, and the residents of Litchfield have been very supportive in your commitment to see that this department has had what it needs to succeed. This commitment helps the department to grow as the town continues to grow and provide the best service possible to our community. I have also believed that the benefit of fresh ideas and perspectives being brought to the table by anyone within our organization is a key building block for the department to continue to build upon for all future achievements. In closing, it has been both my honor and pleasure to have served the town of Litchfield for the past 35 and a half years as both an on-call firefighter for the first 3 years with the department and as a full-time employee for over 32 years. I look forward to working with you and the department over the next 2 months to transition before my departure. My hope over the next 2 months is to help advertise, hire, and train my replacement for the full-time firefighter EMT position that will become vacant upon my retirement. I am available to assist in any way needed as the Board of Selectmen works to fill the vacancy of the part-time fire chief's position as well. I want to end by thanking this board for their overwhelming support of me during the course of the last 3 months that I have been interim fire chief. I appreciate your faith in me leading such a great department. Respectfully, Douglas Nickel.
Thank you.
I want to thank Mr. Nickel for all his years in the town.
Thank you.
It's a long time. In the-
Sure is.
in the days when people work somewhere for a couple of years and then move on because the grass is greener,
He stayed.
realize that the grass is pretty green here in Litchfield. So Doug, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for all your years of help and service to the town. Is there anybody else? have anything to say.
I'm very proud of Doug of what he's done. I was on the Litchfield Fire Department at the time that he was hired to come on. I did pick on him, he was young. Okay, not to say that I sprayed the hose at him many, many times. Okay, but he has done well. He's done well. I have to say one thing, he's gone through elected administrations compared to appointed administrations.
Yep.
And that is very hard, but he still stayed, and that's great.
I was looking forward to working with Doug in this new capacity, and going to be sad to see him go.
Yeah, he's done a fantastic job for us, for the community. I mean, he had many chances to go elsewhere and work other places, but he and his wife decided that Litchfield where he was gonna put all his service, so it was great for what he's done for us.
His travel time has always been short.
So the second part of this is the spreadsheet that you see next to his retirement letter. I went through, we've been tracking the number of admin hours that Doug and Ed Clancy, to some
Yep.
capacity, have incurred each week. Those admin hours being what we have designated would have been just chief work. So on an average, 17 hours a week has been just what would have been chief work, which equates to about $683 at the current chiefs.
Okay.
So we looked at the expenses to date in the fire department, and then we estimated the next 12 weeks, and then starting in June. And the reason we did that is because we wanted to provide the board with at least some recommendation on behalf of the staff of how you could get through the fire department for the rest of the year. Understanding that there had been other conversation, which there wasn't any warrant articles prepared for. Neither do we estimate, looking at the numbers, if that's the route that Litchfield should take, just from a budget standpoint, just saying that. I have to say that we need to hire someone, a full-time position, to replace the firefighter, Doug's position as a firefighter. There is no way that Paul and even Ed Clancy as an on-call can carry on the fire department after Doug, after April 29th. And looking at the short time period now, not even sure if we start looking now, we could hire someone by then. So it is crucial that we get it advertised, and at least hire that other full-time firefighter position.
Okay. The firefighter position is what you're referring to.
We need to
Right.
backfill Doug. I mean, we need to have another full-time person there. Without even dealing with the part-time chief, we definitely need to replace Doug.
Correct. Otherwise, you won't have a full-time firefighter
Correct.
Monday through Friday.
You got a math to determine on this one. The math
You have
course
Mr.
does.
Kelly, who's the
Paramedic.
paramedic, and,
Yep.
you know, for everything that Mr. Kelly has done, we're very thankful. I mean, he has really stepped up.
Yeah.
But can't go out by himself.
I mean, I'm personally very comfortable letting interim chief Nickel go off and find his replacement. I don't know how everybody else feels, but that's how I feel.
I don't have a problem with him doing it. I would like to look at, what he's gonna put out there, and just kinda be familiar with it before he puts it out. like what, you know, what are the salary lines and benefit lines, you know, vacation, time off, whatever. This board has been pretty, well, the board before has been pretty,
Flexible.
well, flexible, but also pretty interested in, rather than going the route that the town has hired for so many years, getting into a PTO, personal time off, versus, vacation days, sick days, these days, those days. So maybe we work with Doug on that. And, but he should be at the forefront of this.
I agree.
I only warn that time is of the essence, because we have 33 days to get this done.
It is of the essence, and I would caution that we don't have PTO written into our personnel
Correct.
policy. When you're negotiating a job with someone, you're the employer, you have the right, but I would be very careful about
Needs
actually making
flexibility.
changes that are not, and offering things that aren't in your personnel policy.
Flexibility is required.
Okay.
And you could include in your personnel policy, it's, you know, employees hired after such and such. This is the plans that are being offered, but we need to have something.
And historically, every year, we've gone back and looked at all of our policies and procedures, and we've tweaked them at that time.
Yes.
So Steve, you're suggesting that Doug does the station, bring a candidate forward, and then we essentially interview him if he believes he's a worthwhile candidate?
I didn't catch that.
I
You were
think-
breaking up.
I think Selectman Gannon was saying that interim chief Nickel would bring people to us, and we would interview also.
I think so.
Or even himself.
Yep. How do you feel about that?
I like that. I like that idea.
Okay.
Even himself as well, right?
Yeah, he should be here.
I think we need to look at the RSA on it, because a fire chief has a lot more power than any other chief. I think he has every discretion to hire whomever he wants within the
Correct.
RSA's.
Yes,
Yeah.
he does.
We
Now,
want to
he
be able
could-
to.
and
part
it
of
could be
the
a
hire.
courtesy, we could ask as a courtesy, when you get down to the final two, can we be part of a conversation with them? But however, I think the power lies with him.
By RSA.
By RSA, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Part-time.
I do think, you know, generally Doug would be very willing to be collaborative about it.
To
I
step
know
in.
that while he did mention, while he's looking for this position, he wanted to look for other on-call. I mean, he's been out
Correct.
there trying to
Diem.
find more per diem,
Yep.
so
He's done a call.
he's been.
In his
he's
short
been
days, he's
working very-
accomplished a lot.
He has been working very hard, and the staff over there is very comfortable with his leadership in the direction that the
Correct.
department's moving.
Things have changed as the last chief has left. That's all I have to say.
Okay. So, are we in agreement? Let Doug move forward on this? Okay.
I agree.
All right, Steve?
Yep.
Steve?
George.
Steve part two? Do we call him George?
No.
Okay.
Gee, Stephen Gannon.
Jeez. Okay, very well.
You got ink
Can
on
you-
your arm
can you
right here.
let him know?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that we're gonna do that? Okay. So now, we have town administrator report.
All done now.
So,
Oh, no, she's got a lot of stuff here.
yes, it's been a busy week. So first you received from the Department of Revenue, the final equalization ratio. So the equalization ratio for 2022 came out to 75.9%, meaning your homes, right now their assessment is 75.9% of market value. That is not bad. considering that you, in 2025, have a revaluation. So, we've seen some of Nashua went into a reval this year. They were down in the low 70s before they went into their revaluation. Londonderry had a revaluation in 2021. Hudson just did a revaluation in 2022. It's about the level that everyone has been before they've entered into their revaluation. What you might see now, and people have hoped, is that these home values start to level out, or at least not seeing the climbs that we were seeing before.
Extreme.
So 75 is, I actually thought it would be lower than that. When we talked with Avatar a little while ago and they gave us a preliminary, it was more like 74. So we'll take the 75.9. I did give you the descriptive, just because there's a lot of things that people don't know. So the coefficient of dispersion is generally, they want to see it under 10. That's what the DRA looks at. So it didn't come out bad, but it's just a tad over. So, and then the PRD, which is the price related differential, again, that's right in line where the DRA would like to see it. So I think you've got some healthy values, and I think that they're correct in the general scheme of things. I mean, you're dealing with a mass appraisal system, so that's
God bless you doing that
that's generally
Okay.
where we like to see things. So that was that.
Thanks.
The NHMA had a presentation this week on the state budget, which is between the Senate and the House right now. Last fall, when we talked to the budget committee, we warned that we were a little worried about where revenues might be. So for fiscal 23, the actual meals and rooms was 121.5 million distributed, which was a 75% increase over 21. So in House Bill 1, the proposed fiscal 24 estimates 121.1, so just a little low. And then 123.5 in fiscal 25. So not at all what we were expecting last fall when we talked to budget. It's just
What was it for 25 again?
123.5.
3.5.
Red paint, yellow paint, green paint, pink paint.
Revenue sharing, which was suspended way back in 2010, if it hadn't been suspended in 2010, that's by RSA 31A, they share the surplus with the towns.
Mhm.
If they hadn't suspended it back in 2010, they estimate $325 million, which would have gone to the towns and cities.
Oof.
But they did suspend it again in the House Bill 2, which is,
That's what they do up there.
yeah, they're keeping it suspended. Highway block grants, so 35.4 million was for fiscal 23. That's estimated at 32 in fiscal 24 and 32.1 in fiscal 25. So over 24 and 25, you'll lose 5.9 million in highway block.
Well, it's not good.
Not bad.
Now, that's not as good as,
No, but it's not bad.
but it's not as bad,
Yeah.
as what we thought. You know, we were looking at, we're watching the revenues. We have pretty much bi-weekly calls where, we talk about these things with, Catherine Heck, who's the NHMA, financial person, and
Never believe the news or the government until it comes out. That's my bottom line. Okay? It comes out differently all the time.
well, I mean, the governor's budget is, so the state has a 20% vacancy
Okay.
for jobs. So part of his budget, if it passes, as isn't amended,
Huh.
state workers, all state workers, police to childcare,
Yeah.
10% raise as of July 1st, 2020.
Thank you, Governor Sununu.
And another 2% July 1st of 2024,
What's wrong with that?
which speaks to the labor shortage that
That's a
we
big
have,
carrot to try and-
especially
That's what it's doing. That's
in
what it's doing.
municipal government, yes.
Yeah, it's all referring to, today I got something today, come work for me, come work here, come work there, because there's no workers,
No, it's
okay?
bad.
And that's what I found out today. I
Mm-hmm.
can only go there if they don't have computers,
Um,
I'm good with computers.
The other part of his budget that you may have heard about, and a lot of us are talking about internally, I know that there's been some concern with, the Police Chiefs Association
I know,
and others, is the governor's budget removes 34 licenses and 14 regulatory boards.
okay,
So
yeah.
things like getting hawkers and peddlers licenses, right down to cosmetologists.
That's
and
minor stuff in the big
it's-
picture.
Removes all of that.
But that's all the minor stuff in the big picture, you know what I'm saying? Hawkers and peddlers and all that kind of
It is until people
stuff. Complain.
or get sick.
Who's
You
gonna
know?
get sick?
It happens.
COVID.
So there's two House bills, Senate Bill 270, which puts another 20 million in bridge aid, and 20 million in highway block grants for this year, fiscal
Right.
23, using state surplus. That is still on the table, and Senate Bill 138, which proposes an increase of 10 million to the PFAS remediation fund, that we're still watching. There's 17 bills filed for pensions, including the one to restore the state's, contribution that
Contribution.
they took away so many years ago. At one point, it was 30%, and
They took it all away, yeah.
yeah, that is tabled. There's some bills, 4 of them, that are still alive. Although they are great for our employees, we need to be careful about the municipal cost to those. And one is the bill that will restore the Group 2 back to the 2013 days, as far as calculating their pension. Right now, as the bill is on the floor, the state would pick up the cost. But what we've seen in the past is the state picks up the cost for 1 year,
And
then they make pass legislation pushing
Yep.
it down
you
to
got it,
the
to push it down.
employers. So we're just being
It's us.
careful. And we'd rather see bills that have the state giving more. So that's everything that I have on budget.
I just wanna say one to the board. The administrator has been here most of the weekend. Okay? Her car's been parked out front. I'm amazed because of all the years I've been here, all the years I've been in the other towns. This one here is not afraid of work. Thank you. Kim, thank you.
We're very fortunate. Carry on.
if anyone is an education buff,
Education.
I
buff?
always look at it, this one actually helps Litchfield because there's a part of the governor's budget that will increase the base rate for adequacy. So, and the base rate to the formula is good, cause that's
Okay,
just
yeah.
your population, right?
Yep.
Where Litchfield might not get as much as other towns is when you start talking about the population, like free and reduced. This, over the biennium, could be an increase of $127 million
For Litchfield?
statewide to education.
Oh,
So
statewide,
that would
okay.
be, that would be good.
I thought I meant, you
for
want
Litchfield.
Dexville.
When we, look at it, I think that's one that the school board should keep an eye on.
Remind them, please.
I will
Send Mr.
talk to
Cutter a note.
superintendent. Yeah.
Yeah, a little, you know,
Who's the new chair of the school board?
Heidi Ames.
who's in charge then now after? Who's the administrative assistant at the school, the contact? Michelle was the contact person before.
I don't think they filled
Yeah,
I
that
don't
position.
think
filled
they
it now.
didn't fill Michelle's position.
Oh my God, they get their butt
Speak
together
with Doug generally.
to help communicate a lot of stuff better.
So the WARN Act. So the WARN Act is a notice, that you receive, and this one was a little different for me because this is a California company. Aspirations, they're out in California. They notified us and they notified, BEA, the Economic Bureau for the state. Today we received more information. Generally, when a company is having a mass layoff, you get a warning. It is a mass layoff, but there are employees across the country, so they are being careful and issuing every location where they have employees a warn notice. There's only one in Litchfield, one actual employee that will be laid off.
Okay, we can use her
So-
on the farm.
Do we have anyone for the government that we rely on? Some of these jobs, like the name on this list, some of the engineers or
Yeah, there's,
software people. and
there's a lot of,
I
but
can't
we
believe
don't
this
know
list.
where the others are.
You got names, Kim? You can
No names. There's,
Don't
No,
you
but it's a
worry.
big name, it's a big list, so.
they are every, I mean, yeah.
You know where you can find a
This
painting
is a huge
contractor?
layoff.
Who's laying the, who is this company? Aspirations?
Aspiration.
And how do they handle the
They
employment for New Hampshire government
Amazing.
employees?
No, they're a company in
What are you looking at?
California,
Bill?
but they have to notify the state economic bureau and the town
Told me you like that.
that where the
Employee
employee
resides.
resides.
Yeah. So of this, one employee is in town.
Right,
So
but I don't
that's-
know if we rely on these other people, you know, for the state, that's,
We have no idea where all these others reside.
Probably a
but
whole lot of
that's-
telecommuters.
They all work at home, let's put it this way.
That's what they
Telecommuter.
state, that they're remote workers.
Yeah.
but it's strange, because your other report said they're having such a, you know, need for people, and then I'm seeing this layoff list. And that's why I was, maybe looked a
Yeah,
little
so this
confused
is
there for a
some
minute, but.
type of online financial resource, and
Is that bank out there?
yeah, it's but it they not only gave it to us by email, they FedExed the letter today. Update on our fiscal '23 budget. Everything looks good. We went through it. We looked at it carefully. We have a meeting with budget Thursday night. The road fuel line is about half spent. We're watching that. Salt is about 60% spent. Watching that. And contractor services is about 67% spent. So we're watching as
We're
well.
close.
We're
No more
hoping,
snow.
No more snow, and then
Please.
a mild December, and we're in good shape.
see where we are.
Kim, I'll talk to you tomorrow about what
If
I
you can
heard
make that
today.
happen, that would be great.
That's all we need.
That's all
I'll
we
go
need.
home and rub my magic ball.
It's gonna snow tomorrow now.
Better
It's
believe
not.
No,
Or it's gonna be an ice storm.
Yeah, that's worse.
There's nothing this week, guys. I just want to report to you all. The weather's gonna be good all week. A little cloudy, computer problems here and there, but that's all. Computers don't cause snow. It's called aggravation.
So update on Senate Bill 169, and I did, so the information that we received, which is a proposed drinking water project, the map for the Merrimack River crossing,
Yeah.
that, and the letter that DES wrote to Senator Gray, that is information we did not have before. That's good information. As you know, there was an amendment that passed the Senate last week. The amendment does not exempt any property taxes. And the
Okay.
senator that proposed the amendment was very clear to state that. What it does is it prohibits the public water system from charging back to the ratepayers the cost of the project.
Okay. Good.
Well, makes sense,
Good.
right? Because the cost of the project is being paid by the state of New Hampshire in the $9.7 million that Senate Bill 169 would appropriate. We're watching it. We are trying to get a meeting with DES to talk more about it. Having said that, this is high on everyone's list. I did just today find out that on March 20th last week, if you watch the Londonderry Town Council meeting, you'll see the town manager speaking about the report from Weston and Sampson.
Okay.
So it's a very good meeting to watch. He talks about how it's a very low amount of money.
The big.
He doesn't give an exact figure for Londonderry to purchase the water system, but he says it's very doable. They have a number of residents that talk about concerns, and then they start to talk more about their PFAS. On March 14th, the federal EPA sent out a new proposed PFAS suggested rates and limits for the PFAS to be under. So right now in New Hampshire said 12 to 18 parts per trillion. The federal is saying 4.
Whoa.
So
Good.
if it passes, that may make a lot of homes that have tested need to be reevaluated.
Correct.
And I know when I spoke with the state earlier today, they were saying some of these homes are being set up to be reevaluated and tested again. There was one addendum that has been approved by DES. None of the streets were in Litchfield, but I'm watching, and they're alerting me as these addendums come out.
Thank you.
Who did the 4 trillion? Who did the 4 parts per trillion? Is that the
So
federal?
that's a federal EPA.
Federal guidelines.
They did it.
Yeah.
Well,
That
they're
was
pa-
Mike
they're-
Reagan?
They proposed it.
Because that was Pappas and Annie Custer working with Michael Reagan from EPA. They did it. That's
It's
what they said they
proposed.
needed to get that number.
Yeah,
So now you have a law to point to.
that's what you needed.
Okay, perfect.
That's what you need.
Kim, you got what you got.
But it's important.
Is that water line going right over the Hudson line, where it comes into Litchfield?
Which one are you referring to?
It's
Bob?
right down by, and I asked Luke Karen to look at it, and I also sent it to our assessors, because
It looks like the circumferential highway route.
I'm thinking it's state land, but I'm
What do you
not
refer to, Bob? I ain't on my
positive
computer
on
working.
that.
So that's the Litchfield line, right here, the white line.
Yeah,
And then there's the,
You like that title search on the
right there
plan.
at the bottom of the town.
yeah, see,
Never
there's
ends.
the town line,
Yeah,
and there's the water line.
okay, they're gonna
does
tie into the water system that goes up all the way up through.
Yeah, and it goes up through there.
Yeah, okay.
Bob, would that be the old fish hatchery?
The old what?
Fish hatchery?
No,
No.
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 That's further up.
that's at the south end of town at Autumn Lane,
the
which
tree
is the
farm.
new road that was built,
That's where that house was.
okay?
they took down.
Where the new homes are
Yeah,
in there
part of it.
now.
Yep.
Right on the town line, they're gonna come across there and feed that line that feeds those houses. And then feed the line that comes up through Litchfield through there.
But it does state that it's only 2,800 feet,
It's not long.
so it isn't that long.
It's not that long.
And then it says it's adding the the booster pump system.
That's
So
separate.
what are they hooking into? Must be our existing
There's
infrastructure.
there's an existing infrastructure that comes up through there. Okay, right now onto Route 38 and goes north. Okay, and it goes across. They have to tie into that because they just put that new southern at the south end of town. They put that line in, which is actually in Hudson, the water line itself.
Yes.
Okay, they're gonna come across the river, tie into that, and pump it north. Okay, and it'll correct a lot of things, because there is the lines up above. Okay,
Okay, yeah, that's that development right there.
right,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's just-
this is,
They're trying to get to Londonderry.
Yeah.
yeah, as
So they're
long as it
probably
gets
gonna go-
under.
They're probably gonna go right down that state
Oh.
circumferential highway route.
The circumferential highway, pick it up from there, and pick up in Hudson, and go back into Londonderry.
Yep.
Because the Londonderry has to be fed as well in the future, because they're tied into the same Litchfield system that we have now. Okay, back in the day when they built those things, it was based off the Litchfield wells. Okay, and those wells are gonna be shut down, so we're gonna tie into everything through that.
Can you point to that on the map
Well,
down
the
there?
only way to,
It's a map?
Lower right is, I'm just thinking from the planning board if more homes.
Planning board
coming
part of it?
With water.
This is a white piece of paper.
No, the bottom right, circumferential highway, right?
Yes.
Circumferential highway goes right through here, goes up, and it'll tie back and everything here. You have, I'm gonna say on, I don't know how to say this correct, but you have a lot of wells in this area that we're gonna feed into and supply. And there to be the feeder supply. They're gonna come in and feed that as well. They also have one down going through his in-laws that comes across the Taylor Road up through here now. It feeds into the town system that we have. We got two. There'll be a second one that's gonna come in from down below. And you had the question the other day about who owns the water lines. Kim, you mentioned to me.
yeah.
I said, that's pretty cut and dry, cause the line is definite in there. The surveyors have found it, and who are these folks, these lawyers? They gotta understand it, that's what it's all about, okay? But that's what they're talking about that, because here's a circumferential highway coming through here. All the way up through.
But normally, so even if it's state land
Mm-hmm.
and a for-profit company goes on to state land,
Yeah.
they are taxed.
You got it.
Yeah, I just wanna make
Whatever
sure,
their
I'm just thinking
views.
planning
Yes.
board, now that they have access to water, is something gonna happen down there? I don't know who owns the land at this point, I know you've been digging with title searches.
So, oh, no, we've verified. The state may not agree, but we know,
State owns the
that
piece.
the state owns it.
State owns this
They
piece
don't.
in here right now. And they bought that for the circumferential highway to come over to here. That's already been bought and paid for.
Yes.
So that's what they're referring to, and the water line is right down here on the edge.
Yep.
And they're gonna use that to come to this and go up through. That's what it's all about.
See, Pennachuck can't do, the problem with Pennachuck doing the project is they can't invest in the infrastructure
If there's
that
no-
would be needed and charge the ratepayers
Correct.
until the system is actually used.
Correct.
So they kind of have a catch-22 right now.
Put that in there.
And, which makes sense, so the state gives the money, the state funds the project, doesn't cost the ratepayers anything,
Correct.
and when it's
don't know about that, so-
operational, then there'll be maintenance and everything else.
And they're
they
referring
can
to a
charge the
line
ratepayers.
that comes down through here, okay, that feeds
Hold on to
this
your wallet.
subdivision. Okay, all the houses that are in Litchfield down there, but the road is in Hudson. And they're gonna try to use that line and come up and feed into this. That's what it's all, for the state and all that, you know, you can't do anything.
They're moving a lot of this, very quickly.
I know.
So, I think last board meeting, I told you I had spoken with, Lou Karen, and we didn't think Hillcrest, was gonna progress this year.
Nope.
Pennachuck contacted me last Thursday and said, nope, we've sent it out for an RFP for construction. The RFP is due back at the end of April.
We'll find out.
And we will have Hillcrest and the roads off of Hillcrest started by the end of the year, before the end of
Okay,
2023.
and that's an old system up there based off wells that they have closed. Okay, they've closed, I think, 2 up there because of iron. And they need to get a new water supply into to help feed that system.
Well,
And
they mentioned they may need a wetlands,
Oh, am I surprised?
and a maintenance easement, so they'll be in touch, but it felt like, okay, you had just said that you were having a material issue, and then they reach out and they contact me and say, oh no, we're gonna have it done by 2023. So things are moving really quickly, and a lot of towns are getting involved.
May I ask just one more question, just for general, for myself?
Good
The
luck.
water's coming in through that pipe. What are you saying? They're gonna put it into the wells that are there, or are
They're
they gonna
gonna
have another
feed-
pipe going over to Londonderry?
They're gonna feed the system that we have.
Yes,
There'll also be a feed going to Londonderry, which is not that far off when you come into the
right, just go that way.
Hillcrest Road.
Mhm.
Okay, in that area there can feed into Londonderry.
So they're gonna put pipe in for that, that's not there, got it, okay.
We have the water
Now I see
tower
what you're doing.
in town that can help feed that for pressure reasons. Okay, on Rocky Hill.
Okay.
The Londonderry is lower than us, we gotta get a little hump.
Thank you.
They are much lower than us.
So, three other things. So, Albuquerque,
Yeah.
Kevin Brown let us know that, he was contacted and Continental will be paving from the 3A intersection up past Hidden Creek on Albuquerque
Correct.
during the beginning of April.
Yep, that area needs some help because of the truck traffic in there has destroyed the road.
Really? Is it beat up?
Yep,
Tomorrow, you may see a drone. Eversource will be flying drones over their
I shoot them.
line that they're repairing. So, if any of our residents call you and say,
Shotgun
See drones.
acceptable?
that's why, it's just tomorrow and it's Eversource.
I shot
And then
2
the
this year.
other item that I just received today, so it was too late to put it on your agenda,
I understand.
but I wanna make you aware of it, is the police department brought over to me a peddler's license. It's all signed off by fire, by police, and by our health inspector on the Spanx, the down at Little Tubes, so it's
Small tube?
small
Yep.
tubes.
A little bit of cooking on the side, let's go get some
Is
meat.
that in a
So-
site plan adjustment?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
So
Well,
they,
seriously, I mean,
For
we
who?
just
For which one?
to have a food truck
so,
on an establishment.
No
I
site plan
remember we
required
went-
for that.
Oh, yeah, Mel's went
We
through
went
that,
back through, if you go back to Mel's Funway, and it had to be put on the site plan where their food trucks would be during Spooky World.
Disagree with that, okay? In this case here,
This is just actually for his hawker's license.
I'm
Right.
just asking a question, cause it's set times.
Yeah,
I disagree with that. It's
Well, I
not-
mean, we did hold Mel's to the fire on that.
And Mel's is set times for a certain period of the year. This is set time at an establishment, so I don't know
Yeah.
where the gray line. I'm just trying to look at the big picture here.
As
Are we gonna
food-
have a
as
grievance
food
back?
truck?
That's what Mel's had to put food trucks and had to go in the
Yep.
back corner of it. They didn't have to say exactly. They said this area
Yep.
would have food trucks in it,
Yep.
then this area up front.
So do
And it was a site plan.
yeah. Yeah, so did the Vineyard,
You
where
want
the
it?
fire trucks.
Yes.
Is it a one-time event?
No.
It's set hours weekly.
This is where? It's small
Sundays.
tube?
It's small
Sundays,
tube,
yeah,
yeah.
set hours. So
That may
before we
have
go
to be
down a
looked at.
slippery slope,
Yep.
you
I
might wanna ask those questions.
No.
Yep. No, I agree with him on that.
I don't agree, because
think it goes,
I've been in this trade
It
for a long
can't hurt to
time.
look. When's
To
our
go to
next
the-
meeting?
Mel's
Planning
If we
Zoning.
hold the vineyard for it, if we held Mel's to it, how is this
I
different?
did not require Mel's to do
okay.
that.
All right, I'll talk.
Can I just say something first? A hawker and peddler's guy show up here and there, everywhere. Okay, they used to come to the town, get the license, the selectmen approve it without going to site plan approval, because it's minor. Okay, you're not dealing with a lot of traffic. If you're referring to Mel's situation, it's more of a political situation, wait in there. Whatever you do down there, there's somebody stomping on you. We never used to require these things in my lifespan. As a building inspector, we used to approve these things in a parking lot they may be there for a month or two, and they're gone. Okay? But as long as you got the hawkers and peddlers, you know the area is big enough to handle the load, which it is. You don't need planning board approval for that kind of stuff. And that's how I and the boards in the past that I have worked for have done. Here, we've had one case with Mel's, in which no matter what you do down there was somebody always, I'm gonna say, jumping on us. You didn't need to do that here. But that's the politics of the whole thing.
So I think with this, it's not their land, correct? It's
Small tubes lane.
small tubes, and obviously small tubes has given them permission. And then, so they're asking for the peddler's license,
To be
not only
approved.
for that location, but for the fairs, which they do down at Dara Pond. So I think
Right, planning board
there's a
approval?
state process that they go through to make sure that their, you know, their van has met all the health certificates and they've gone through all that. We have all that.
Yep,
Our health inspectors reviewed it.
yep.
So
Good.
with Mel's, wasn't it, you were
It's-
approving a site plan on Mel's?
It's outside
Yeah,
food trucks
Seasonal.
coming in seasonally for a certain period of time, parking there and hawking goods.
And that was
Same thing for
something,
the vineyard's gonna be, it's other people coming, so the food provider is doing what they're supposed to
be
do. I'm just
consistent.
asking,
No.
are they allowed to put the truck on that site plan if it doesn't have site plan approval to have a food truck?
I agree, they're all right to
So
do
it's
it.
not the individual selling the food,
was
they did the
coming and
right
going.
thing by applying for the license.
We-
It comes
we-
down to is it on their site plan to allow to have that?
Question
Now,
for
if we
this.
made two establishments, put it on it, what's different about this establishment?
Okay, let's step back then, let's say what difference is about this. If we're gonna go to the rec commission and have a weekend with an event, We have food trucks up there. Do we need site plan approval for that? No, we do not. But today, we need it,
Town land.
okay?
Town land.
Yeah, that's,
Town land.
that's that one.
So all I'm trying to say is we need to be consistent so we don't end up in an issue.
Okay, my legal side of it is going to hell.
Okay.
Can they get a variance?
No.
I just remember you and I sat in
Oh, yeah.
hours on top of hours
I
in
know.
planning board
I
meetings
don't
over
think
this.
of anybody else we held that to.
I
Well,
The
disagree.
two
my-
that I know have been held to has been Mel's and then the winery.
My concern, and, I mean, like I said, I just received it this morning.
Mhm.
It was too late to go onto your agenda,
Okay.
but I wanted to bring it up, because I've seen on Facebook that it may already be occurring. So,
Call Jay at NRPC. He might know.
He'd probably be the best. Maybe he can tell you the differences between the three different venues.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of, I agree with Steve on this one. I think being consistent is what we have to be. We can't pick and choose where we want to enforce anything. Now, if Jay
Approves
comes
the rec
back and
commission?
says, we did approve the rec commission to have their,
Did the planning board approve it?
it's town land.
Not the point.
It is a point, this is a private enterprise.
Same thing with the guys down there.
I know, but Kevin, we held Mel's to the fire, and I do think we need to be consistent.
We're not consistent then.
I don't know what happened before we got on the board. I can't speak for that. I can
Okay.
only speak to what we've had in front of us since then.
All I can tell you, there's been a lot of people after Mel's, I'm gonna say politically, it's been wrong. Okay? We all know about the signs being torn down and the whole nine yards. But in a case like this, if a guy wants to go in for a couple of weeks, put his vendor's thing out there, I have no problem with that at all.
Personally, I don't have a problem with it either, as long as the rules that are in place have been followed, and we
Our
enforce them
rules
equally across the
don't
board.
require that though.
I'll call you to, we'll call
Selectively.
Jay.
yeah, it doesn't say how long.
It does not.
Say Sundays. Sundays.
It could be all year.
Could be, yes, it does not.
Let's find out the status of that, okay?
Let's hold this off till the next meeting, and we can get some answers, and maybe we just ask them to file a site plan, just to stop all the argument. Again, I don't have a problem with it, I think that, we were very vocal a couple of years ago, and, I think we have to stay with it.
I was not as vocal as you were.
No, you weren't,
The owner of the property or the
that's
peddler?
true, which is unusual.
Owner of the property. It's expensive. It's not cheap.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
I would agree.
Grandfathered in.
We need to be consistent.
Yeah.
Hey, Steve, your chair is right here.
Next week,
All I
2 weeks.
have.
Okay.
I'm so sorry, thank you
Mhm.
for,
Don't be sorry, you're doing your job, you're doing it well.
Thank you, Kim.
So we'll have, would you say you're gonna check with Jay or something to see if there's something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Kim's gonna.
Yeah.
Okay, and we'll revisit it next meeting, okay.
thank you.
Next, we have selectmen reports. Rec Commission, Mr. Weber.
Next rec meeting is tomorrow evening.
Nice.
At the past rec meetings, we have, the Recreation Commission unanimously has agreed to rename Corning Field to the Kurt Schaefer Memorial Fields. After all the work he has done for the rec, for selectmen, and everything did at the Justin Bissett, the Rec
Really?
Commission is gonna rename the field down at Corning. There was nothing that really tied Corning, other than it was just Corning Road, and, we're gonna move forward with naming it that. Other than that, nothing else from a rec standpoint.
I say no.
Well, it's under the purview of the Recreation Commission.
I know.
All right, let's see. Budget Committee, we meet Thursdays. School facilities, have you met on that?
No, that hasn't been one.
All right, Planning Board, Ms. Queenie.
There you go. It's month end, quarter end, so it's gonna be,
Lovely.
it'll be quick, summer
Kim
pictures.
comes with spreadsheets. We'll save you one, Steve.
Yeah, I'll email it to you.
Kim, can you make it short?
I will, I always make it short. There you go.
No, you don't.
There you go. All right, let's go to this sheet first with the spreadsheet.
First one.
All right, because some of this I was told to bring up during committee reports. So we had spoken about adding the meetings for NRPC onto the website, and we had approval from the board. And hi, how are you? John will be doing that. He's mentioned in here. Yeah, so the middle section has the 4 quarterly meetings that we meet. Do you want to have the executive or the TTAC meetings? They're listed on the left and right. Kim Kleiner, you go to those, and Kevin Brown, right, monthly?
Yeah.
So I don't want us to look overloaded, but, it's up to what you want to put on the calendar.
Are they public meetings?
Yes.
Yeah, they'd have to.
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Somebody's home in board, and they wanna go to a meeting.
They're supposed to be public meetings no matter what.
Yep.
Yeah, they're all public,
Yep.
there's just certain voting members.
Yep.
Each town has a voting representative.
So a lot of residents have been coming up to me saying, what is NRPC, what are they doing for us, kind of thing, so this will just be a way for them to see. I'll give you this. There's all the
There you
dates on
go.
it. Or, I don't know if John does this. Does Donna do this? Puts the dates in the calendar?
Yeah,
Yeah,
All right,
okay.
so we'll hand that off and figure that out.
I think you wanted to add NRPC to the page.
That's coming up next. So number 2, so that's number 1 there. So number 2 is, you said to look at the Hudson website as a model. So,
Yep.
John, do you want a picture of this you're looking, or it's up to you? All right, so this is Hudson's website. This is item number 2, right? If you actually click on the thing that says Town Hall there,
Yeah,
go to the next page, you're gonna see a pop-up.
okay.
You're working with getting departments separated from boards and committees on Litchfield, right? But there is there's a National Regional Planning one in the middle column that I underlined.
Yep.
So, again, people at the voting booth was like, well, what do they do for us? Can you give us a little bullet list kind of thing? So, if you click on this one, they take you right to NRP's website. I don't know if we want to do that or not. It's easy to do. Or we can put a little bullet list together of what they do. So I just wanted to, you don't have to answer today, but just think about whether you want to advertise that way. Then if you go to the next page, they actually, when I was there, saw a code of ethics in the 3rd column. We still have to finish that assignment. Remember the code of ethics we worked on? We
Yep.
last left it where we actually removed the ethics committee because we saw that it interfered with the Right to Know Act.
Yes.
And also it trampled our policies here.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not gonna have a committee, but we have to get back to an ethics policy, and you wanted to stay in the lane, remember? So that has to come back. So they had one here, just showing you that they had it. Just to remind you, we've got to get back to that at some point.
Okay.
All right, item 4 was the Capital Improvement Planning Committee. I think, we did go over the impact fees with Jay Mancara at the Planning Board. I sent them to you all, in an email today. I don't like just the spreadsheet. You were there at the meeting as well. I want what Mr. Mayberry did way back. Remember Mayberry did these 30 years ago? I would like the definitions that he's using, the rules, what does and not qualify for each board or department. He was going over all formulas for all different groups. Because we're gonna refer to that not only at the Capital Improvement Plan Committee, but we're gonna refer to that legally when somebody comes in,
Right.
like from the Rec Commission and says, can we use impact fees? So we need something to point to. And you wanted comparisons of the before and the after values as well. So Jay has agreed to do this, but you have the spreadsheet of what we saw. They're not, I don't think they're in shape enough right now, but we could use them to start on the Capital Improvement Committee. We're gonna need something. And then part 4B is, when do you want to start SIP committee meetings? Again, you guys, whenever you think you want us to begin that, or?
Quarterly, I thought is what we did, starting after town meeting.
For the CIP?
CIP, find out what,
We
what,
have
pa-
to
well,
get the final 5 years approved. We
Yeah.
never approved.
proved it, yeah. But after that, it was a quarterly one, because it was a living document, what passed, what didn't pass, how are we gonna move things within it.
Well, there was an ongoing evaluation.
Yeah.
But there might be, it sounds like there might be more things coming up in between, so it might have to be more.
Is
Does
ARPA?
that come back to the board? So
Yep.
does the 5-year plan come back to the board?
6 years, but we only approved 1.
Correct.
Right. Yeah,
So it comes back, we have to have a public hearing, and we have to accept it.
Okay.
So the protocol's always been, the CIP did it, then they bring it to the planning board, then there's a public hearing, then it goes to the board of selectmen to be adopted.
And we went through all those steps, but it was only for that 1 year.
Because the fees were large for
Some
police.
for the police and the fire, they went up quite a bit.
Yep.
And, so we started looking at, the next day, fees that are being paid back. And I'd be concerned if the board wasn't okay with a police department, and the timeline of the police department actually running into that window where you are paying back fees.
You mean getting up that 6-year window? The formulas too are based on population, keep growing, but we had, and you might have been on the board, the planning board at the time, where we determined the build-out of the town. We could no longer build any more homes, and no more taxes.
Oh, yeah.
And I wanted to make sure that he halted at that calculation.
At the
That's in our
false
master
claim.
plan, and we'll
We
look
got
up
to
the number.
saturation point.
We'll look that number
we
up.
were
So
on
there's
local.
work to do there.
Yeah.
It's rough, so,
almost done
but
with that
he
crap.
delivered something, but I just don't want a spreadsheet.
Hey, Kim, one more thing, and I noticed in other towns, if there's a proposal for a site plan for a commercial use or something like that, they put a proposed plan on their website. Okay, so the residents can see what's going on. Can we do that through Litchfield's?
Click on the planning portal.
Did you do that for the gas station up there? Joan does it? I couldn't find it, that's why. I don't go there. Okay. Yeah, we do a little more, because I noticed in Hudson, and the reason why I'm saying this at the corner of West Road and 102.
It's only got 3
There's a
left.
lot going on down in that sector.
I know.
And I wanted
Yeah.
to see if we all know what's going on. My son-in-law, who lives in Hudson, showed me the site plans and the whole 9 yards, which is nice. I didn't see that ever coming out of here, but that's because I'm not a techie.
They were cleaning up the gravel pit over there.
It's all gone.
Number 5, we have to come back to is the metal detecting policy on town land.
Yeah.
So it's not gonna be you giving the permits, it might be the board of selectmen. You were still working with legal on that.
Yes, so
And then, yep.
I'm gonna be the facilitator, I guess. But the
Okay.
boards or the commissions are gonna be the people that say yes or no.
okay,
I'm just gonna make sure it gets where it needs to go.
okay. So this is
Um,
gonna come up on agenda. I just
Yep.
didn't have time to get it to her this time. And then the lost and found is gonna be with the police department. If somebody comes to us saying they lost a ring,
Yeah.
it's gotta go to the lost and found, right?
Is that in a planning part?
This is all part of a policy that we have seen other towns using, so.
The planning department getting lost and found?
No, the police department will have the lost and found list.
Well, that's the selectmen's side of it.
The selectmen just give them an option to go on the town land.
I haven't found a dog yet, so I'm all set.
So that was written to the current RSAs, and I know legal's looking at it. The only thing we couldn't find was anything about cemeteries, and there was no RSA about that, but I'd like to put that in. We don't,
It's Dr. Steve.
I know, but again, metal detecting on town land, right? We don't, so.
Well,
So we'll run that all by town
I'd
council.
include the cemeteries in that, because the town owns the cemeteries.
Well, I thought there was language in one of them, in one of the ones that we looked at, where it just said no metal detecting on
Oh,
cemeteries.
good. Okay, let's then just reference
Because
it
that
then.
makes sense to
That
me.
makes
That is
absolute
not a
sense.
place where you should be metal detecting.
Okay, good,
Well,
because
at
it had
the
every
old
other type of land.
grave sites, you can find a good ring, but I'm just saying, you know,
Okay, good. That's good to hear, because it was saying conservation land, recreation land. It was going through each one, but I didn't see a cemetery. All right. And then, I don't know, we'll work with the process in a form later. Albuquerque signage also went in. I emailed it to everybody. So that was a grant paid for by NRPC. I was surprised they didn't do the Hillcrest intersection. They started at Pinecrest and went towards the school. And it was still a lot of money, but you can do it in piecemeal. You know, and basically focus on the schools. They had 6 streets where I know Kevin Brown is not too happy about it. So if you're on this side of the street and you want to go to the bike path, or to the parks, right, near Darrah Pond, or to get to the school, there were 6 streets where you just have that straight painting, like a crosswalk like that, going across. So, I understand the paintings probably might be expensive or get ruined with the plows, but that was one option. And then the Pinecrest intersection itself is not ADA, it's not compliant, but once you start working on it, you can fix it at that
We
point.
have some issues with the older way it did it was, it's in compliance with the law
It was back then.
back
Back
then.
then.
Okay, right now it's not.
Right.
It's all good things take time.
That's what I said, so they gave you a plan to do it in pieces.
Right.
It's still expensive, what, $388,000, if
Oh
you
my
did, if you did everything, but if you just do the paint, it's cheap, right? You don't have to put the sidewalks
Just get rid
everywhere.
of the curb and you're all done, slope it down.
So I have, so planning did,
Old school.
discuss this.
Yeah,
Afterwards, I went and asked the police department to pull some data for me.
for accidents there?
Accidents, pedestrians, running of stop signs, things of that sort. I'd have to agree with Mr. Brown.
It's low.
You have a, if you were, before you were going to tackle $388,000.
Oh, yeah, no,
I would try some police cars.
I would look at some blinking lights or
again-
something like that.
I
Okay.
think you have an enforcement
It's
that
an
could
issue.
be done.
Okay, that's said too, but we'll give you the pictures of the kids trying to get through those cars as well. So there is a problem. During 2 times of the day, the peak hours, but there is a problem.
Which
Yep, Okay,
schools?
again, it's not, no answer here, just gave them the update of what the grant money paid for. They really should look at Hillcrest, but,
Have a blinking light in town.
Solar ones work well.
all right. So, let's see, the last thing is, we talked about maybe an energy commission. We weren't sure about that memorandum of understanding, that time frame, and just again, it'll probably show up in an agenda item later, sooner hopefully. All right, so my committee reports. Sorry, guys. All right, here we go.
Too long.
It was quarterly, so that's the problem, NRPC's
I
quarterly,
have
right?
it right there.
All right, let's go quickly. I don't need to do Board of Selectmen, but welcome aboard to Stephen Gannon.
10 words or
And
less,
thank you to Rich
please.
LaSalle. Capital Improvement Plan, we already went over.
He's over.
All right, National Regional Planning Commission quarterly. What we did, we already did item 1, we're gonna work with John on the, that item. Next quarterly meeting is Wednesday, June 21st, 7 PM, 30 Temple Street in Nashua. So what we did at the last quarterly meeting was we reviewed and approved all the fiscal 25 to 28 New Hampshire 10-year plan projects for NRPC region. So we got the 10-year plan there. We also did for the congestion mitigation air quality grants. That's anybody reducing carbon, emissions out of their cars, all of that, working with street lights, whatever, to control the traffic better. This is a sad one for some people, but maybe not for others. They were trying to put in a capital corridor project, commuter rail from Lowell, Massachusetts, up to Nashua and Manchester. So the engineering cost, and everything was done. It came into $600 to $780 million to do it. So at the moment, the financial plan is done, but the engineering was not done on time, and the state has halted the project. So it's not going to happen.
Typical.
The regional housing needs assessment, so the region, the 13 towns, is due every 5 years, so that draft should be ready in April. We'll look at it at the Q2 meeting in June. Obviously, housing is a big problem in the region. We are working on NRPC's statement of strategy. It was last done in 2016, and it's old, so we're looking at the mission statement, the strategy and the goals, and we're working with Jay Mankara and aligning what he should be doing for the group as well, with his input. They are going to be coming around NRPC to the Board of Selectmen, Planning Board, trying to get more buy-in for the strategy. They want to get your ideas, what we think they can be doing better.
Kim,
Yeah?
regarding NRPC, what is their response to what's happening in Nashua?
And where,
Nashua,
as far as what?
we got the asphalt plant in the middle of downtown next to it.
We haven't even talked about it. What's happening there?
You didn't talk about it at
No,
all?
it didn't come up at a
Case
meeting.
closed, I don't want to talk about it.
Somebody wants to
Huge.
build a big asphalt plant in
What?
downtown Nashua.
Yeah, Newport.
building one?
Newport.
They talked about a site
It's,
cleanup they were doing.
No, they're at the planning board. They've been there
Oh.
for months now, but the other night was a public hearing that lasted until the wee hours of the morning.
That's a tough one.
And it
Henry
would be
Hanger.
right in the Temple Street
Really?
area.
That's where an RPC.
Oh,
Right,
man, I'll
Here's
do
your
where
that.
neighbor.
Henry Hanger is, you know where Henry Hanger
I
is?
do.
Right behind that, there's a Temple Street diner.
Yeah, right there.
Imagine an
What's
asphalt
going
plant.
there? An asphalt plant?
Tile place.
There's not enough space.
Yeah, right
for
near the
parking.
margaritas.
So if
Okay, one
you-
more thing.
If you're driving in over the Hudson
This
Bridge
building.
into Nashua.
But that bridge is already failing.
and
They're not gonna get the
How
traffic.
are you gonna get trucks?
You cross
Get out of
you
there.
cross the train tracks and you're there,
I know, that's crazy.
okay?
It's-
And I just wanna know if you guys have thought
No,
about
we
that.
never mentioned that.
Getting
Okay,
away from that.
Never
just
can-
asking.
Right, and they're talking about, the equity, these are some of the lower priced
Right, yeah.
neighborhoods
Yes.
and,
Yeah.
the
People are gonna be-
environmental impact
Yep.
to those neighborhoods.
They are
those
upset.
It's a
homes.
regional
Horrendously.
impact if you got
It
that
is.
smoke coming out
I
of
have to think that NRPC,
But no, they never brought it
Jay
up. I'm gonna,
is
okay.
aware of.
Huh.
Thank you, Kim.
We're almost done. All right,
10
the
questions
annual,
or less.
I know, the annual forum, they're gonna talk economic development post-COVID. We're gonna have the state, local, and federal coming in. The only other thing I'll mention was there was another accident on 101 in Amherst, Milford line, another fatality. That road, people cross the line all the time, that yellow line. So I hate seeing the statistics, but I know they're on the 10-year plan to fix it, but how many people have to die? So we lost somebody else last week.
Recently there.
Yeah, it's
I
just
know where
sad
it
to,
is.
they can't speed that
So
fix
what
up.
I do, yeah, it is accident.
Yeah, I'm going to Milford tomorrow, so I'm gonna find out more about it.
Yeah, don't hug the yellow line, you get hit, you go to the right, you get a moose, I mean, it's, they need to do something on that road. I hate seeing the statistics of the number dying on that road. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Yep.
We don't have Heritage Commission. We'll have one report next time, hopefully.
Your chair is here.
Emergency management, also those were two of Mr. LaSalle's, committees that, Steve will be filling the Heritage and Kevin will be doing emergency management, and I don't think they've met in a while, so,
No, they've been dead.
okay. So. And I think that wraps up everything for tonight.
I got
Does
rec
anybody have
commission, that's
anything
it.
else?
I just wanna say on rec commission, I got something for Jason. He's clearing the brush, going here and there on Route 3A, going down to the boat ramp,
Okay,
okay? There are some trees that are bigger than he can handle. They will be taken care of professionally by a local guy who rents the land. Okay, I'll let it go from there. It'll be all taken care of, and I hope to tell, he showed me the pictures today and went, all done, we'll take care of that for you. Cause I had 3 trees that fell in my yard this winter, and they're in the field, so I'm gonna take care of them. At the same time, I'll go take care of his. Cause the trees that needs to be, all we do is push them back into the woods, away from things, and that's it. A lot of it came down this year, a lot of trees came down.
Mr. Chair, there is one other thing that, Dave approached me this morning. So, Mr. Brennan is working on the granite post signs. And he has the materials to do the transfer station and highway. They're signed by the road. And so, we weren't sure if the board had weighed in on, and this was probably back, when Mr. Brown was here, so, I'm sorry if you discussed it.
I never did.
I think we did.
Did you talk about having the name be the solid waste facility versus the transfer station on the sign?
I don't think we discussed it at all.
We
I
never
don't remember.
discussed
Just
it.
a big sign going on the building, right? Wasn't there gonna be a
We
community
talked
sign?
about the neon, you can change
Yeah.
everything on that.
That's all I
Oh,
was.
that,
no
this is
sign
the
up there.
wooden
That's a separate
one.
thing, I know, but.
This is the wooden
We
one.
did have brought forth, I thought, to put up a couple signs in other spots.
Yeah.
I don't remember what the verbiage was though on the signs.
No, he did one by Albuquerque and 3A,
Yeah.
which said Town Hall, Campbell
They were
High,
like
yada, yada.
waypoints, and I could've swore we did one about the recycling, and there was gonna be one other spot that we were gonna do one.
This recycling was what we wanted to
Have to
say.
go back and look at the minutes.
Yeah,
So, there's some concern over a solid waste facility is generally thought of as the final place.
Correct.
You are actually getting rid of the,
Transfers being dropped off and taken elsewhere.
right. So, was going to say, the proof that we got is solid waste facility and highway department, because that's what's there, right? But do we want transfer station? And, maybe slash.
In my mind, we
Animal
need to
shelter.
use the word transfer, because everything's being transferred out of there.
that-
So on the website, we call it recycling solid waste.
is that what the sign says?
So the sign right now, it doesn't say anything, it's gotta be made,
Oh,
so
okay.
that's why we have a
Oh.
chance
Oh,
to
so
And I
it
guess
should-
at
make
one
it be
time,
whatever you want it
It
to
was
be.
solid waste.
because
so-
we had an incinerator, so it was its final resting place, because we'd burn everything. Once the
Right.
incinerator came offline, then we started moving everything
Yeah.
out.
So.
We may
this-
want across the board website change it if we're gonna change it to transfer station.
Right, the state said the sign on the inside,
The sign we just made, I think, says Litchfield Recycling.
Okay.
The one we're putting up the border cross, I have to go check the proof now to be approved. You better make a change to the name, let me know.
no, that's right, John.
Recycling's
You're
good.
right there, because the state said the sign on the inside has to be what's on your permit. What's on their permit is the Litchfield Recycling Center.
Correct.
The sign on the street can be whatever you'd like, they don't care.
You could do recycling transfer station,
You could do recycling transfer station.
I agree.
does
I just
both.
think if you say solid
Yeah, I like
waste
that.
facility,
I like that.
you're giving the impression
I'll go with
it's
Bob.
final resting place.
Transfer, because it's not there.
10 years ago it was.
Wasn't it called Incinerator Ave at one point?
Incinerator way, incinerator
And then
road,
it
now it's
switched-
recycling
now it's
way.
It used to be the
Recycle it.
dump way.
Yeah, because it was incinerator way, right? Yeah.
Before you guys got
Decommissioned.
here, it used to be dump.
I think recycling center and transfer station,
I know.
Recycling transfer, let's be
We
good.
tried
I wanna go with
recycling
the
transfer.
dump.
I like it,
you
yeah.
like that?
Yep, I'm good with it,
Sounds better than solid waste.
Yeah, I'm thinking
yeah.
Water potty.
water cleanup issues, yeah.
All I can tell you right now, back in the day, it used to be the dump.
Yep.
That's all I can, Bob and I
I
remember.
still call it the dump,
We call it the dump.
I do too.
yeah.
So we used
The
to
dump.
burn the dump back in the day. But the bear got pissed off.
Okay. Good, Dave will be happy, that's
Yep.
what he wanted.
Back in the day, remember that?
Recycling transfer, right, okay.
They
So,
cooked-
so the sign does say Litchfield Recycling Center.
Yeah,
That's what it says now?
Which is right, that's what's on
That's
the
correct.
permit.
The new sign we proposed across the side of the building, electronic sign.
Yeah.
Top of it says Litchfield Recycling.
Okay, because that has to match what's on the permit, right?
Yes.
Okay. But the
and
one
and
by
it
the
is
road,
recycling. We go there, we split everything up and
okay.
go.
fair enough.
Can't burn bears there anymore.
Anything else? Is that it?
I promise,
For sure?
Kim, are you sure?
I promise.
Right,
I'll come back tomorrow and check on you.
all right. Well, since we don't have a non-public tonight,
I make a
That will-
motion to adjourn.
we have a motion from Mr. Lynch,
Second.
second by Mr. Weber. All those in favor, Mr. Gannon? Aye. Ms. Queenan?
Aye.
Mr. Weber?
I'm an I.
Mr. Lynch?
Aye, Steve, I'm holding you up.
Also
Aye.
an aye. Motion carries 5-0-0. And
I will
the next
send-
meeting will be 2 weeks from tonight.
I will probably be here,
Doesn't say here.
unfortunately.